is unhappy with the way Congress is doing business these days, and we're back now with the panel. Well, the Senate finally passed a compromise Saturday, and let's take a look at what's in it. A 2-month extension of the payroll tax cut and unemployment benefits, 2 months. A provision that President Obama must decide within 60 days whether to go ahead with the Keystone oil pipeline, and it's all paid for, but there's no surtax on millionaires. Senator Bayh, is this the kind of legislating why you quit?
In part, Chris, and it also explains why Congress's job approval is now 9%. I mean, this was ridiculous. This should have been extended for a full year. The pipeline ought to go forward, but this allows the president a pretty quick out after 60 days. He can say there's just not enough time to decide. So, look, I think the House has got a decision to make here. It ought to be extended for a full year. They can amend the bill, send it back to the Senate. And by the way, this reminds me of a saying in the House. They say that, in this case, the Democrats may be the opposition party, but the Senate is the enemy. So the prospect of forcing the senators to come back to Washington to deal with this probably delights a lot of the House members. This action in the Senate plays right into the president's hands. It allows him to appear to be a more zealous tax cutter than the Republicans. He wants to extend it for a full year. They only gave him 2 months. It allows him to play the populist card. He's for a tax cut for everybody, or they're just, concerned about the Bush tax cuts. And it allows him to run against Congress. So this is, from my view, sort of political malpractice 101. So I would suspect the House will make some changes. The only caveat to that, Chris, would be if they just don't have the votes to make changes, the worst thing for the Republicans and for the country would be to do nothing. To have everyone's taxes go up, it would just make them appear to be totally inept.
Well, Bill, let's pick up on that because Speaker Boehner was out this morning on Meet the Press, and he said, interestingly enough, he tried to sell this package to his rank and file on a conference call, and they said absolutely not for almost exactly the reasons that Senator Bayh mentioned. Boehner has now come out against the bill. He's going to call them back in, and they're either going to amend it or they're going to say, let's go to a conference committee, work it out. And the big issue is they say no 2 months. Because it's just going to make us a laughingstock, and the president will be able to, in the State of the Union, beat us up about it. We want to see a full year extension with the extension, but also with the pipeline.